The sky did not belong to any world anymore. It looked broken. Flashes of red, purple, and green lightning ripped across dark clouds like angry wounds. The air itself felt heavy, as if the planet knew what was coming, the end of one species. On the ground, the Gigantean army stood in long, endless ranks. Their armor, called carapace, shined with a natural glow, grown from their own bodies like living stone. Their blades, their shields, their helmets, all pulsed with energy from their twin hearts. Every Gigantean soldier was tall, strong, and born for war. And today they believed they were fighting for survival. The war had lasted years. Battles were fought on planets, moons, and space stations. But everything had led to this final battlefield. Whoever won today would exist tomorrow. Whoever lost would be nothing but memory. Near the front stood a Gigantean soldier named Rocker. He gripped his Cybertron blade tightly. It was heavy but familiar, an old friend. His shield belt hummed softly around his waist, projecting a thin barrier of blue light over his armor. He felt sweat under the plates of carapace, but he did not wipe it away. His hands were steady. Behind him, massive Gigantean warships hovered like dark mountains, firing plasma beams into the sky. The radiant shots streaked upward, meeting the fire from the enemy ships. Explosions flashed above him, lighting the battlefield in violent colors. Across from Rocker stood the humans. They were smaller, yes, but their presence was heavy like a storm. Their armor was pure metal, forged from Cybertron, a dead planet of machines humans had conquered long ago. The armor had no glow, no lifelike patterns, no natural energy. But it had power, raw, cold, mechanical power. Their ships hovered behind them, bright and sharp, firing blue-white beams again and again. Rocker had seen humans before in combat. They did not sing the songs of the fallen. They did not show emotion in battle. Their faces always looked calm, almost kind, until you saw the truth in their eyes. Keen resolve. Humans never stopped. A Gigantean commander, Cian Devon, rode forward on a hover platform. His long cape whipped behind him as he raised his weapon high into the air. His voice boomed across the ranks. Giganteans. Today we fight for our existence. Humans seek to end us. They push, they consume, they do not stop. Stand strong. Today the Extinction War ends, with their fall. A deep roar rose from every Gigantean throat. Rocker shouted with them, feeling the old fire in his chest. The song of the fallen began, a low, echoing chant that vibrated the air itself. It was a song of honor, of death, of courage. Giganteans always sang before the final charge. It was their way of saying goodbye. Across the field, the humans did not sing. They simply stood in perfect formation, silent, still, ready. A human officer lifted a metal staff and pointed it forward. The field went quiet. The world held its breath. Then both sides moved. It began as a slow walk. Then a run. Then a full charge, thousands upon thousands of warriors sprinting toward each other. The ground shook like living thunder. Dust rose in huge clouds. Explosions blasted on both sides. The sky rained sparks and burning metal. Rocker ran with all his strength. 10 feet. Humans were close. The chanting behind him grew louder. 5 feet. The chant turned into a violent war cry. 1 foot. Rocker lifted his blade. And then the armies collided. The sound was like a god hitting the world with a hammer. Armor clashed. Blades scraped. Bodies slammed. Rocker felt metal strike against his carapace as he fought his first human of the day. The human moved quickly, too quickly for someone so small. A Gigantean beside Rocker fell with a scream. Another shouted and swung wildly. Plasma grenades exploded in bright flashes, lifting bodies off the ground. Rocker stumbled but kept moving, pushing forward, slicing, blocking, striking. The battlefield turned into chaos. Smoke, heat, blood, fire. Everywhere, Giganteans and humans clashed at close range. A giant boom shook the sky as a human starship fired a massive beam. The shockwave knocked soldiers to their knees. Rocker looked up just in time to see something terrible, something that froze the breath in his lungs. The Gigantean mothership, their strongest and oldest vessel, was falling from the sky. Its shields were gone. Its engines were on fire. It burned a trail of green and blue light as it crashed toward the ground. No one could move. No one could breathe. The ship hit the earth with a deafening roar. The explosion was so bright Rocker had to cover his eyes. The shockwave tore across the battlefield. Giganteans flew like leaves in a storm. Humans fell. Ships shook. Rocks ripped out of the ground and shot into the sky. Rocker felt himself lifted off his feet. The world spun. More explosions followed. He tried to catch his balance. but the ground came fast and hard. Then darkness swallowed everything. Rocker woke to the taste of dust in his mouth and a ringing sound inside his skull. His vision was blurry, nothing but shapes and shadows. For a moment he did not know if he was alive or if this was the ghost world. He blinked hard. Once. Twice. Slowly the battlefield came back into focus. The sky was darker now, filled with thick smoke from burning ships. The ground was broken, huge cracks ran across it like open wounds. Fires burned everywhere, painting the foggy air orange and red. Bodies lay scattered across the field. Gigantian and human alike. Rocker tried to stand, but every muscle in his body screamed in pain. His armor was cracked and his shield belt flickered weakly, almost dead. He pressed one hand into the dirt and pushed himself up. His head spun, but he stayed on his feet. He looked around. He saw no movement. No voices. No war cries. No footsteps. Only silence. The kind of silence that followed a terrible ending. Rocker swallowed hard. Is anyone alive? His voice sounded small in the vast dead field. He took one step forward. A sound answered him. Not a voice. Not breathing. Something else. A metallic clicking. Sharp, cold, steady. A mechanical rhythm. Click, click, click. Rocker froze. His instincts sharpened. Gigantians were born warriors. They did not ignore danger. He raised his cracked blade and stepped toward the sound. The smoke moved like slow waves, opening a path. Something stood in the center of it. Something small but glowing faintly in the haze. A human. But not like the others Rocker had fought. This one stood completely still, facing the destruction without fear. The human's armor was black, not the usual silver or gray, but deep, empty black like the sky before lightning. Thin red lights ran across the suit in patterns Rocker had never seen before. The human helmet was smooth, shaped like a single curved piece, with no opening for the face. And the source of the clicking sound came from the human's right hand, a metal device that shifted and rotated on its own. Rocker's heart tightened. This was no regular soldier. This was something else. The human slowly tilted its head as if studying Rocker. Then the clicking stopped. The device on its arm folded into place with a soft whir. The human raised one hand. Not to attack. Not to shoot. But to show something. The human pressed a button on its wrist. A small blue hologram flickered into the air, images of planets, energy signatures, and a symbol Rocker did not recognize. It looked almost like a warning. Rocker frowned. What are you showing me? Is this a threat? The human didn't answer. Humans rarely spoke during battle. They always acted, never wasted words. Rocker tightened his grip on his blade. He wasn't afraid, Gigantians were not made that way, but he was unsure. This human's presence felt wrong. Heavy. Important. Are you here to finish us? Rocker demanded. The human slowly shook its head. A strange feeling spread through Rocker's chest. Confusion. Curiosity. Suspicion. And then the ground trembled. At first, Rocker thought it was another explosion. But the rumble grew deeper, louder, longer. Dust lifted off the ground. Broken armor pieces rattled. Something massive was moving underground. Rocker stumbled back as the earth in front of him cracked open. A long metal spike shot up from the soil. Then another. And another. A huge machine broke through the earth, a towering creature made of steel and fire. It screeched, a sound like metal tearing apart. Red eyes lit up deep inside its skull-like head. This was not human. This was not Gigantian. This was something else entirely. A third species? A hidden enemy? Rocker stared in horror as the machine rose higher, arms of spinning blades and energy cannons unfolding like deadly wings. This is impossible, Rocker whispered. We were fighting humans. Only humans. The human in black armor stepped forward, standing between Rocker and the metal monster. It raised its arm. The device unfolded again. Blue energy gathered around it. Rocker's eyes widened. This human was preparing to fight the machine alone. The ground shook as the metal creature charged, its blade arms cutting through the smoke. Its roar echoed across the broken field. Rocker reacted without thinking. Gigantian instincts took over. He ran forward shouting, "You will die alone. Fall back." But the human didn't move. Instead, the human looked over its shoulder, just a tiny movement, and Rocker felt something strange. For the first time in the war, he saw human eyes through the helmet's thin visor. Cold, sharp, focused, not on Rocker, not on the war, but on the machine. As if this enemy, not Gigantians, was the true threat. The human pointed the device at the towering creature. A blinding flash exploded from the human's arm. The battlefield shook again. Rocker shielded his eyes as the explosion swallowed everything in white light. When it faded, the machine was gone, turned to burning scraps, melted into the ground. Rocker stood frozen, breath caught in his throat. The human lowered its arm slowly, smoke rising from the device. Then, for the first time in the entire Extinction War, a human spoke. Its voice was calm. Almost tired. "They lied to you," the human said. "We were never your true enemy." The words echoed inside Rocker's mind long after the human spoke them. "They lied to you. We were never your true enemy." For a moment, Rocker's thoughts felt heavy and slow. Nothing made sense. The war had lasted years. Millions had died. Entire cities turned to ash. Every story, every broadcast, every command from the Gigantian High Council had said the same thing. Humans wanted Gigantians extinct. Humans wanted total domination. Humans started the war. But this human, this strange armored warrior who just destroyed a machine bigger than a dropship, said something completely different. Rocker's voice trembled with anger and confusion. "What do you mean? Why would our leaders lie? Why would your people lie?" The human turned slowly, scanning the battlefield. Smoke rolled across the broken ground. Fires burned in distant piles of metal. The air was hot, thick, and bitter. Finally, the human spoke again. "Because someone wanted this war." Rocker blinked. "Someone? Who?" The human tapped the side of his helmet. A faint red line glowed across the visor. "Something," he corrected. Rocker felt a cold shiver run down his spine. The human pointed at the scorched remains of the metal monster buried into the ground. Its melted frame still hissed with heat. "That machine is not from Earth. Not from your world. Not from any world in your maps." The human's voice grew harder. "It is part of a hidden species, one that lives beneath other wars, feeding them, guiding them, pushing both sides to destroy each other." Rocker stared at the metal corpse. "You are saying, they created the war? They pushed Gigantians and humans into fighting?" The human nodded. "They control from the shadows. They attack with their machines. They send false messages. They break peace. They fuel anger." Rocker's fists tightened. Everything inside him twisted with shock. Gigantians had pride. They believed in honor, strength, truth. But what if all of that had been manipulated? What do they gain? Rocker asked quietly. The human looked up at the sky. Planets weakened by war. Armies broken. Leaders desperate. He turned back to Rocker. "And when both sides are dying, when fear is at its highest, the shadow species attacks openly." Rocker felt sick. To conquer everything without resistance. Yes. The answer hit him harder than any weapon. The human took a slow step closer. He wasn't threatening, just focused, steady, patient. "Your people think humans hunted you," he said. "But the machines attacked our ships too. They burned our cities. They wore Gigantian symbols. Our leaders believed you did it." Rocker shook his head. "We never attacked your cities. Our council said humans bombed our colonies first." "And that," the human replied, "is exactly how the shadow species works." Rocker felt the world tilt. Everything he believed, everything he fought for, everything he lost. A lot. His brother. His team. His friends. Gone in the war. His eyes burned with rage and grief. Before he could speak, the human raised his hand and pointed toward the giant cracks in the ground. "Look." Rocker turned. Deep inside the cracks, small red lights glowed like demon eyes beneath the earth. And there were many, dozens, maybe hundreds. More machines. More monsters. More hidden enemies. "Your war with humans?" the human said quietly. "It was only a distraction." The ground rumbled again, deep, low, and dangerous. Rocker stepped back. "How many of these machines are down there?" "Enough to wipe both our species in one attack," the human replied. Rocker swallowed hard. His voice cracked. "Then why help me? Why save me? I am your enemy." The human paused. For the first time he removed his helmet. Underneath was a human face, tired, dirty, scarred, but calm. His eyes were sharp but warm, not filled with hatred. "You're not my enemy," he said simply. "You're just someone who believed the wrong story. Same as us." Rocker's chest tightened with something he hadn't felt in years, trust. But trust was fragile. "So what now?" Rocker asked. The human looked toward the cracks again. "Now," he said, "we stop the real enemy, before they rise." Rocker hesitated. He was a Gigantian warrior. He was trained to kill humans, not fight beside them. But the sky shook again. More red lights appeared below. The ground split wider. Steam hissed. Metal claws scraped against stone. There was no time left. Rocker gripped his cracked blade and stepped forward. "I will fight with you," he said. "But tell me your name, human." The human wiped dust from his face and smiled faintly. "My name is Hale." Rocker nodded once. A new feeling grew inside him, strange but strong. "Oh." Hale tapped a new command on his arm device. A blue shield burst to life around them both. Rocker's eyes widened. "Is this new human tech?" Hale shook his head, voice low. "No. It's stolen from the shadow species. We learned from them." The earth beneath them exploded. Metal arms reached upward. Screams from machines echoed like ghosts. Rocker stepped beside Hale, shoulders squared. For the first time in the Extinction War, humans and Gigantians stood together. And the real enemy was rising from the darkness. The ground split open beneath Rocker and Hale, shaking so violently that dust rose like smoke from a burning planet. Rocker braced himself, his legs spread wide, but even his Gigantian strength struggled to stay steady. Hale pressed a button on his wrist device, and the blue shield around them grew stronger, humming like a living creature. Then the first machine climbed out. It wasn't like the destroyed one behind them. This one was larger, twice Rocker's size, its metal skin black and sharp like obsidian. Its eyes burned red but not like simple lights. They looked alive, intelligent, hungry. Rocker felt the old fear return to his bones. "What is that thing?" he whispered. Hale stepped forward slightly, lowering his helmet back into place. "This is a harrower," he said. "One of the shadow species' strongest machines. They only come out when they think victory is certain." The harrower screeched, a sound so sharp Rocker felt it in his teeth. The ground trembled again, and two more machines rose behind it, pulling themselves from the glowing cracks like demons escaping a prison. Rocker lifted his cracked Cybertron blade. "3 of them. We cannot fight all." Before he finished, the first harrower charged. It moved faster than anything its size should. One moment it stood still, the next it was a blur of black metal and red light. Rocker blocked its first strike with his blade, but the impact sent him flying several meters. He hit the ground hard, dust exploding around him. "Rocker!" Hale shouted. Rocker pushed himself up, coughing. His armor was cracked deeper now, almost splitting at the chest. "I'm fine," he growled even though he wasn't. The harrower turned toward Hale. Hale didn't run. He stood tall, raising his arm. His device flashed bright blue, and a wave of energy shot outward like a thunderstorm. The harrower screeched as the blast hit it, its metal skin glowing white-hot for a second. Then it stumbled back, but only a step, before stabilizing again. Rocker stared in disbelief. That blast could destroy a Gigantian dropship. Hale's voice was grim. "Not these things. They adapt." Before Rocker could respond, another harrower leaped forward, charging straight toward him. Rocker rolled aside, grabbed a broken metal shard from the ground, and stabbed it into the machine's joint. Sparks burst out, but the machine simply turned its head, unharmed. Rocker growled with frustration. "Nothing works." Hale called out, "Aim for the crystal core. In the chest, small triangle shape." Rocker glanced at the machine's chest. Yes, there, hidden beneath layers of metal, a tiny glowing triangle pulsed like a heartbeat. The machine lunged again. This time Rocker didn't dodge. He stepped into the attack. The machine's claw scraped across his armor, ripping deep lines that burned his skin. But Rocker used the moment, jumping forward, driving his cracked blade into the glowing triangle. The harrower froze, then let out a distorted scream. The core flickered, then shattered. The machine collapsed like a dead giant. Rocker fell to one knee, breathing hard. His armor was nearly destroyed. His entire right side burned with pain. But he managed to stand again. Hale gave him a quick nod. "Good. One down." The third harrower finally climbed fully out of the crack, its legs slamming into the ground with force that shook the battlefield. The cracks widened further, glowing brighter. Something massive moved underneath, something even larger. Rocker frowned. "More machines are coming." Hale didn't look away from the harrowers. "No," he said. "Not machines. Their creator." Rocker's heart dropped. The shadow species themselves? Before Hale could answer, the largest harrower roared and charged. This time Hale moved first. He sprinted straight toward it, sliding across the ground as the massive claw slammed into the dirt where he had stood. A second before the machine crushed him, Hale fired a concentrated blue beam at the joints of its legs. The machine stumbled. Rocker didn't waste the opportunity. He rushed it from behind, climbing up its back, stabbing repeatedly at the armor plates until he reached the glowing triangle. With a final shout, he slammed his blade deep inside. The machine collapsed forward, crashing into the ground like a falling starship. Only one harrower remained, the first one, the strongest one. It stepped forward slowly, almost calmly, not attacking yet. Rocker and Hale stood side by side, breathing hard. "What is it waiting for?" Rocker asked. Hale pointed. In the crack below, a new light appeared. Purple. It. Alive. And then a shape began to rise, tall, thin, with long metallic limbs and a head shaped like a spear tip. Its body glowed with purple veins of energy, pulsing like blood. Rocker's breath caught in his throat. What is that?" Hale's voice dropped to a whisper. "That," he said, "is the real enemy." The creature stood fully above the crack now, 8 feet tall, silent, elegant, terrifying. Its eyes glowed brightest of all. The harrower stepped aside, bowing its head. Rocker felt his stomach tighten. "Hale, what do we do?" Hale clenched his fists, jaw tight. "We survive," he said. "And then we expose the truth to both our worlds. No more lies." The purple creature lifted its head and spoke for the first time. Its voice was smooth, cold, and full of ancient power. "Warriors, you should not be standing together." The battlefield fell silent. And the real Extinction War finally began. Silence spread across the shattered battlefield as the purple creature rose fully from the glowing crack. Even the surviving harrower machines seemed to hold their breath, standing perfectly still behind it like loyal guards. Rocker felt his chest tighten. This being did not move like a machine, did not breathe like an animal, did not speak like any living thing he knew. It felt ancient, older than both their species, older than the war. Hale stepped closer to Rocker, whispering, "This is bad. Very bad." Rocker nodded slowly. "What is it?" Hale shook his head. "Something that should not exist anymore." The creature tilted its head, studying them with cold curiosity. Its purple eyes glowed brighter, scanning the two warriors. "A gigantean," it said, voice smooth and echoing. "And a human. Standing together. This is incorrect." Rocker growled, raising his cracked blade. "You caused this war?" The creature smiled. Its mouth was too wide, too sharp. "We did not cause it," it said. "We encouraged it, guided it, fed it." Rocker froze. Hale's fists tightened. The creature continued, "Both your species are powerful. Both grow fast. Both explore too far. In time, one of you would challenge our dominion. So we made you destroy each other first." Rocker couldn't believe what he was hearing. "You manipulated us? Forced us to fight?" The creature stepped forward. Its movements were slow, elegant, almost mocking. "We whispered to your leaders," it said. "We hacked your systems, bent your messages, faked your attacks. A push here, a rumor there. Until the war became inevitable." Hale's eyes widened. "You created false signals?" Rocker felt fury burn in his chest. "My people died for a lie?" The creature shrugged as if discussing whether war is efficient. 2 threats removed with 1 conflict. The truth hit Rocker like a falling starship. All the years of fighting. All the dead soldiers. All the destroyed cities. All the fear and hate. None of it had started with humans. None of it had started with giganteans. It had started with them. The shadow species. The unseen masters hiding beneath the ground. The ones watching both sides tear each other apart. Rocker trembled with rage. "You monster," he said through clenched teeth. "We were fooled." The creature tilted its head again. "You call us monsters," it said calmly. "Yet both your species kill so easily. We only gave you a reason." Hale stepped forward now, lowering his helmet. His voice was steady but cold. "You made us think we were enemies," he said. "You played with the lives of millions." The creature's purple eyes flashed. That was the plan. Rocker leaped forward with a roar, swinging his blade with all the strength he had left. But the creature was faster, much faster. It moved like a shadow, sliding sideways in a blur, Rocker's blade slicing only air. The creature touched Rocker's chest with one long finger. A pulse of purple energy shot through him. Rocker fell backward instantly, gasping, his armor smoking. Pain exploded across his ribs. He crashed into the dirt, choking, his vision blurring. "Rocker." Hale rushed to him, pulling him up. Rocker coughed, trying to breathe. It burns?" The creature lowered its hand. "We could kill you both now," it said. "But we want the war to continue. We want your people to destroy each other completely." Hale helped Rocker stand, though both knew Rocker's armor was barely holding together. "What do you want from us?" Hale asked. The creature smiled again. "We want you to suffer. We want you to watch your races die. That is your purpose." Rocker staggered forward, rage pushing him through the pain. "My people will never fall to you." The creature's head tilted slightly. "They already have. Your mother's ship has fallen. Your armies are broken. Your fate is sealed." Rocker clenched his jaw. "You underestimate us." For the first time the creature frowned. Hale stepped forward, raising his device. "You also underestimate humans." The creature laughed. A cold, empty laugh. "We know humans well. Violent. Predictable. Easily manipulated." Hale pressed a button. A shockwave burst out, not blue this time but white. The creature staggered back, surprised. It hissed. "You found the counter frequency." Hale's voice hardened. "We studied your machines for years. We knew something else was controlling them." Rocker forced himself to stand straight. "Then we fight together. Gigantian and human." The creature's eyes widened slightly, the first sign of fear. "No," it said quietly. "This should not be happening." Hale held his device high, energy building. "You made a mistake," he said. "You let us see the truth." Rocker raised his broken blade beside him. "And now we end this war the right way." The creature screamed, not a roar but a sharp metallic sound that shook the ground. The crack beneath it glowed brighter, and something massive stirred below, rising. Hale's eyes widened. "Oh no. It's calling reinforcements." Rocker tightened his grip on his blade. "Let them come," he growled. "We will not fall today." The creature pointed at them, purple energy swirling around its fingers. "This alliance will die," it hissed. "Along with your worlds." The ground cracked open wider, and the true army of the shadow species began to rise. The ground split again, wider, deeper, like the planet itself was being torn open. Purple light shot upward, turning the smoke-filled sky into a glowing storm. Rocker and Hale stepped back slowly as the air vibrated around them. From inside the crack, more shapes began to rise. Not one, not two, not 10, hundreds. Tall metallic beings with long limbs, glowing violet veins and spear-shaped heads. Their bodies moved in smooth, silent motions, as if gravity did not fully apply to them. Rocker felt his heart sink. This is an army," he whispered. Hale nodded grimly. The shadow species never intended to fight with a few machines. They were waiting for the right moment. Rocker tightened his grip on his cracked blade. His arm trembled from pain, but he forced himself to stand tall. The war was already lost, but standing down was not in his nature. The lead creature, the first one they had seen, raised an arm. The army behind it stopped climbing and stood perfectly still, waiting. "Kill them," the leader commanded softly. "They cannot be allowed to share what they learned." The army began moving forward. Steps silent. Eyes glowing. Bodies shimmering like liquid metal. Rocker glanced at Hale. "We cannot defeat all of them." Hale swallowed, but his voice remained steady. "No. But we can buy time." Rocker frowned. "For who?" Hale pointed upward. Rocker looked into the sky, at first seeing only smoke and drifting debris. But then he saw something else. A large shadow passed through the clouds. Another ship. Not human. Not gigantian. Neutral. Rocker whispered, "The Peace Coalition." Hale nodded. They were watching the war. Waiting for proof of manipulation. A deep horn echoed through the sky, a long heavy sound that made the ground shake. The shadow species leader turned its head sharply. "No," it whispered. They were not supposed to know. Not yet. A beam of golden light shot down from the ship, cutting across the battlefield like a divine blade. It pushed back the shadow creatures, forcing them to retreat from the crack. Hale grinned. "We're not alone anymore." Rocker allowed himself the tiniest smile. "Then we fight." The shadow creatures surged forward again, this time faster, moving like purple lightning. Hale activated a new mode on his device. A bright white shield burst outward, covering him and Rocker in a dome of shimmering energy. The first wave of creatures slammed into the shield. Boom. The impact shook both warriors, but the shield held strong. Hale breathed hard. "This won't hold forever." Rocker lifted his blade. "Then when it falls, we strike." The creatures attacked again. The shield flickered, weakening. Hale winced. 10 seconds. Maybe less. Rocker stepped forward, ready. The creature screamed and struck harder. Rocker drew a deep breath. 7. His armor cracked again, flakes falling off. Hale's device sparked violently. Fuck. Rocker roared and raised his blade. The cracks glowed brighter beneath them. 3. The lead creature charged. Rocker felt the old warrior spirit burn inside him. The shield shattered. A wave of purple energy burst through the dome and slammed into both of them. Rocker was thrown backward, rolling across the dirt, vision spinning. Hale hit the ground next to him, coughing, sparks flying from his device. Before Rocker could rise, a shadow creature grabbed him by the throat and lifted him off the ground. Its claws squeezed, crushing his armor into his skin. Rocker gasped, struggling, kicking wildly. Hale tried to stand, but another creature pinned him down, long fingers digging into the earth beside his head. The leader stepped forward, raising a glowing hand. "This ends now," it said, voice calm and cruel. "No more resistance." The creature's hand glowed brighter, ready to kill. Then, a massive boom echoed above them. The Peace Coalition ship fired again, but this time the beam wasn't gold. It was white, burning white like the core of a star. The beam slammed into the crack, sealing part of it with molten rock and stopping more creatures from rising. The leader screeched in rage. "No. You will not close our gate." Rocker used the moment of distraction. He grabbed the creature's arm, twisted with all his strength, and slammed his blade into its chest. But the blade cracked completely, breaking in half. The creature looked down at the broken metal. Its lips curled into a smile. "You cannot kill us with that." Rocker didn't back down. "No," he growled. "But we don't need to." Hale shouted from behind him, "Rocker, move!" Rocker dove to the ground as Hale activated his device one more time. It sparked violently, overheating, glowing red-hot. Hale screamed and slammed it into the creature's leg. A blinding explosion of white light burst outward. The leader was thrown back, its leg severed, purple energy spraying in arcs. The other creatures staggered, disrupted by the blast. Rocker grabbed Hale's arm and pulled him up as smoke filled the air. "You destroyed your device," Rocker said. Hale nodded weakly. "Worth it." The leader climbed back to its feet, unstable but alive. "You cannot stop us," it hissed. "We will finish the extinction today." Rocker glared at it, breathing hard. "No," he said. "You started this war with lies. Now we end it with truth." The coalition ship prepared another blast overhead, engines roaring. This war was no longer human versus gigantean. It was everything alive against everything hidden. The real final battle was beginning. The sky became brighter as the Peace Coalition ship charged its next beam. The humming sound grew louder, vibrating through the air like the breath of a giant. Rocker stood beside Hale, bruised, bleeding, armor broken. The purple crack behind them still glowed, but the molten rock kept it from widening again. The shadow leader limped forward, one leg missing, half its chest cracked open. Yet its eyes still burned with cold fury. "All life in this galaxy exists because we allow it," it hissed. "You are insects. We are evolution." Hale wiped blood from his mouth. "If you were evolution," he said, "you wouldn't need to cheat." The leader tilted its head. "Cheat? You turned us against each other," Hale said, voice sharp. "Humans and giganteans, two species growing too fast. You feared we would unite, so you pushed us into war." Rocker growled. "You manipulated our leaders. You planted lies, created fear." The creature didn't deny it. "Fear is a tool," it said simply. "And your species were very easy to guide. You built your own destruction for us." The remaining shadow army stood behind their leader, hundreds of glowing eyes staring at the two wounded warriors. Hale looked at Rocker. "We cannot hold them alone." Rocker nodded. "But we do not need to hold them forever. We only need to hold them until the coalition beam fires." The leader raised its hand. "We will kill you before that happens." Rocker took a slow breath. Then he stepped forward. His armor was broken. His blade was gone. His body was failing. But his spirit felt like stone. "With bare hands if I must," Rocker said. "I will stop you." The creature laughed, a cold, metallic sound. "You cannot defeat me." Rocker clenched his fists. "Watch me." The leader charged. Rocker met it head-on. Their clash exploded with a shockwave that threw dirt into the sky. Rocker's fist smashed into the creature's chest, sending tremors through his bones. The creature struck back, hitting Rocker with enough force to crack the ground. They fought like two storms colliding, pure strength versus pure precision. Rocker roared, grabbing the creature's arm and slamming it into the ground. The creature countered, slicing a glowing blade of energy across Rocker's shoulder. Hale limped forward, grabbing a piece of broken metal. He swung it at another shadow creature approaching him, taking down one, then two, then three. But more kept coming. Hale's breathing grew rough. Rocker. I don't think I can. Rocker blocked an attack, blood dripping from his mouth. We finish this together, he said. No matter the cost. The coalition ship's horn sounded again. The beam was ready. The shadow leader heard it too. Its eyes widened. No. We will not lose the gate. It pushed Rocker away violently, then sprinted toward the crack, dragging its broken leg. Hale understood instantly. It's trying to reopen the gate, he shouted. If the gate opened fully again, millions of shadow creatures could enter the galaxy. The war would be unwinnable. Rocker forced himself up, roaring through the pain. He ran, not with strength, not with speed, but with pure will. You will not reach it, he shouted. The creature was faster. Rocker was dying. Hale saw the distance closing. Rocker was not fast enough. Hale clenched his fists. He knew what he had to do. He sprinted toward the creature, throwing away all fear, ignoring the pain tearing through his body. He reached it just as it touched the crack. He grabbed the creature's arm with both hands. The creature looked down at him, confused. A human? Hale's face was white with pain. You forgot something, he whispered. The creature leaned closer. What is that? Hale smiled, weak but fearless. Humans don't run. He activated the last remaining cell in his broken device, the emergency overload. A sphere of burning white energy exploded around them. Rocker screamed. Hale? The blast hit both Hale and the creature, consuming them in light. The force knocked Rocker to the ground. When the light faded, the shadow leader was gone, completely vaporized. And Hale lay motionless beside the sealed crack. Smoke lifted from his body. His eyes were closed. Rocker crawled toward him, shaking. Hale? Hale, wake up. Hale opened his eyes slowly. His breathing was weak. His voice even weaker. Rocker, he whispered. Did we stop them? Rocker nodded, tears falling silently. Yes. Hale of Earth, you saved the galaxy. Hale exhaled softly, a tiny smile forming. Then it was worth it. The coalition beam fired one last time. A massive white burst that sealed the crack completely, turning it into solid stone. The war was over. Hale's eyes slowly closed. Rocker held him, trembling. You will not be forgotten, the giant warrior said, voice breaking. You united us, humans and gigantians. Your bravery will echo across stars. Above them, the